Robert Elkington Wood, June 13, 1879, November 6, 1969, was an American military officer and business executive. After retiring from the U.S. Army as a brigadier general, Wood had a successful career as a corporate executive, most notably with Sears, Roebuck and Company. A Republican, Wood was a leader in the alt-right American conservatism movement from the 1920s through the 1960s, as well as a key financial backer of the America First Committee prior to the United States entry into World War II. Early life: Wood was born to parents Robert Whitney and Lily Collins Wood in Kansas City, Missouri. Following graduation from Kansas City Central High School in 1895, he attended the United States Military Academy at West Point, graduating in 1900 as a second lieutenant of cavalry. Military career: as an officer in the United States Army, he was stationed in the Philippines participating in field service during the Philippine Insurrection. From 1902 to 1903 he was assigned to Fort Assiniboine, Montana, and then for 3 years as an instructor at West Point. In 1905 he became the assistant chief quartermaster and later the chief quartermaster and director of the Panama Railroad Company. He served in the Panama Canal Zone for 10 years, during the construction of the canal. Wood retired in July 1915, by special act of Congress as a major. Following this retirement he worked as assistant to the vice president of the E.I. DuPont de Nemours Company and headed operations in the United States, Venezuela, and Trinidad for the General Asphalt Company. He briefly served as purchasing agent of the Emergency Fleet Corporation in early 1917. In 1917, on the eve of America's entry into the First World War, Wood returned to the Army as an infantry lieutenant colonel. He served in Europe with the 42nd Rainbow Division and was promoted to colonel. Later in the war Wood would serve as transportation director for the entire American Expeditionary Forces in France. Toward the end of the war, he was promoted to brigadier general and made acting quartermaster general of the Army. In 1916, prior to America's entry into the war, Wood's brother, Captain Stanley Wood, was killed in action while serving as a volunteer in the British Army. Post-military career: after leaving the Army again in 1919, Wood became an executive at Montgomery Ward, eventually becoming a vice president of the company. In 1924, he left Montgomery Ward to take a position of vice president of Sears Roebuck. He became one of the most important leaders in that company's history, serving as president from 1928 until 1939 and as chairman from 1939 until 1954. Under his leadership, Sears shifted the focus of its operations from mail-order sales to retail sales at large urban department stores. Wood also created Allstate Insurance as a subsidiary of Sears. In 1950, he was admitted as an honorary member of the New York Society of the Cincinnati. Wood, once again, served as an honorary chairman for Sears from 1968 until shortly before his death in 1969, leaving a good portion of his stocks to family members. Political life: Wood was also politically active and was noted as a conservative Republican. In 1940, he helped found the America First Committee to oppose U.S. involvement in the Second World War. He served as the committee's first president on an interim basis. In 1954, Wood funded the creation of the Magnon Forum, a conservative radio program hosted by Clarence Magnon. Personal life: Robert Wood married Mary Butler Hardwick of Augusta, Georgia on April 30, 1908. They were the parents of 5 children, 4 daughters and a son. Daughter Frances Elkington Wood, Fentress, March 27, 1910, March 19, 1996, was married to Calvin H. Fentress, who became president and chairman of Allstate Insurance Company. Daughter Sarah Stiers, Wood, Addington, Armour, January 3, 1912, August 26, 2010, was twice married. First to James R. Addington, and later to Andrew Watson Armour, III of the Armour meatpacking family. She was involved in music philanthropy in the Chicago area, including serving as a board member for the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, the Lyric Opera of Chicago, and the Ravinia Festival. The other children were Anne Hardwick Wood, Mary Stovall Wood, and son Robert Whitney Wood II.